Oh, howdy, and welcome to the Tea Weasel on Laundry Day. Today we'll be looking at
想告诉你，如果有来生，我还是会选择和你一起报税，开心一点。
That's right, you guessed it. Today we'll be looking at Everything Everywhere all at once. Before I begin, I'm gonna learn how to do some better editing. 1 second. Wow, that was overwhelming.
You're overwhelmed, Freeze was underwhelmed. Why isn't anyone ever just whelmed?
Now that I know what I'm doing, smack that subscribe button like all the toppings on an Everything bagel and hit that like button too. Let's begin. For this pairing, we'll be making matcha bagels, but I don't know how to bake, so just give me 1 second. Since I'm not a baker and I have no idea how to, let me find some information for you real quickly. Now that I know what I'm doing, let's begin making some matcha bagels, shall we?
We're going to take 2 cups of warm water, 1 packet or 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast, and I do a little of dissolving. And we're doing this to ensure that yeast activates. I usually let it sit there. It gains bubbles on top of it. So I just sprinkle some sugar on there. In a couple minutes, we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. We're going to allow that to activate. On top of the water, there should start to form a foam. And that will let us know that the yeast has taken up the sugar. Yeast feasts on sugar. Bagels, they're very, very dense. So I don't see a point in worrying about. Now with the more delicate pastry, I would sift and measure more adequately. The kosher salt, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon. Gonna shake. That's a lot of matcha. I feel like that's good. It's half the bag basically. If you like matcha, don't bring it to my house because I get.
You won't have matcha left.
The flour, the salt are getting incorporated with the matcha powder. And add 2 tablespoons of butter. This is not how you're supposed to do this. This is just how I do this because I've been doing this a long time and I know how to eyeball things. Add the yeast in. A little bit different than regular pastries because it's something that you would add in a little bit later with most. With any form of pastry, especially like biscuits, I like to just spoon it. It's not really in the recipe, but it's what I do to make them better. It's like the secret to everything. Alrighty. Slowly incorporate more butter. Make sure everything's incorporated. It's kind of the whole point of this kneading process. You're gonna wanna go for about 5 minutes to create gluten in the flour that you're using. I'm gonna grease the bowl, get it nice and smooth. Not that I'd really stick to stainless steel anyhow. We're gonna give this little dough baby a quick little toss and slap. A little bit of a tuck, 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 and then night, night. I feel like tea towel just sometimes, even I guess if it's damp, it creates a better seal.
1 hour later.
You're going to take the plastic wrap off. It's been an hour. My dough boy has risen to the occasion. What you're gonna do is you're gonna dust some flour on your work surface, your pastry cutter. Oh, and all the while beforehand, you're going to take a pot of water and you're going to fill the boiler up with about a fourth full of water. You're going to allow that to come to a boil while you do this part. You're gonna flip this on to. Here are the bubbles. She's a flappy boy. So I'm gonna divide this into about 10 to 12 pieces. And I like to do it kind of like a pie, right? Okay. Be sure to flour yourself, maybe even the top. And And then you go one. I like to move one out of the way while I deal with the other. And this is going to become, so this is going to be 2 bagels. This is going to become 2 bagels. There's a couple different ways to roll it out, right? So there's the classic way. I do my balls of dough like this. So they just nom up all the flour around them. This is what a dough ball machine would make to do like a roll. The boy up a little bit, and I like to poke. We poke and pull. And then there's this jimmy thing that we do. We try to even it out. You don't want it to be too far apart because then you won't get kind of an even situation, almost like that. Let's get this boy kind of even out. You want it like that. We're just going to continue on to the next one. So there's a couple different ways. So you could do the log method where someone goes like this, right? And then you'd wrap it around your hand. And this is the classic method. And then you'd roll those 2 ends together, and that's how that would go. I prefer the other way just because I feel like it's cleaner. You can tell on top of these that one way I did the old-fashioned way, the other I did how I see it. A lot of people, depending on your preference. And it's okay if it's rough because it's gonna be cute and rustic and you're gonna be like, wow.
Wow.
It's gonna be a very cottagecore moment for you. So you're gonna wanna beat 1 egg and an egg yolk on the side. I always pour a 1/4 cup of honey into the boiling water first. Thanks, bees. This is a slotted spoon. You're gonna want one of these. You're also going to want a pastry brush. This is a sauce brush, but we're gonna pretend today. Swirl this around, and you're gonna wanna add a 1/4 cup of baking soda, and that's going to cause your bagels to become bagely. So before you really start going with this bagels, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 425. Say hi to my cock. Now, you're gonna wanna turn this on a lower setting, so it's gonna get real angry. You ready? Now, to prevent it from going batshit, you're gonna wanna give it a little stir. So the honey causes the carbonation to very quickly die out, but it's going to give you the same effects. You also want to have a baking sheet on standby to put these bagels on after you're done, because you're going to boil them for 3 minutes. So I'm going to drop 2 in at a time. Some people do more than that. I think that's nuts. So this is what I don't love about doing it the old-fashioned way, is it's never fully, maybe I just do it wrong. Full transparency, that could be the case. So you're going to take the beaten egg that you were warned to do, and you're going to slightly brush your dried but boiled bread. This oven for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to take them out and put the butter on top of them and bake them again. So it's all a process. So you're going to take your pastry brush, for me it's a sauce brush, you're going to dip it in butter, and you're going to gently attempt to apply it around. So this butter is going to help crisp the edges up. All right, we're going to put this in for another probably 10 minutes. Oven after its second baking session. So you'll notice that these turn brown. That's good because they are Matcha Pretzel Bagels, just to clarify. Didn't land very well, but it's fine. Boom. Matcha bagel.
So there we go.
So with a sink full of dishes, we're gonna cut into this bagel. She's still hot, but it's a pretty good matcha pretzel bagel, if I do say so myself. Cheers. Now that is a quality bagel.
Matcha.
The world's greatest archery trick.
I'm gonna take this and shoot it around the world and hit this target behind me. We'll be back any minute now. But in the meanwhile, let me talk about this movie a little bit more. So diversity is always a win, despite what very hateful people seem to think. And this movie exemplifies that. Because of the movie Crazy Rich Asians, Wei Min's actor Ki K Kwan, I'm sorry when I said that correctly, came back into acting. He quit acting because he got tired of playing the stereotypical Asian character from when he was younger. And now because of this movie, he even won an Oscar. It hasn't shown up yet. It has been all day. Well, since I'm still waiting for the arrow to travel around the world here, I'll keep talking about the movie. So this is by far the best multiverse movie I've seen. Like, it's great. It's better than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Sorry, not sorry. But like, I would have to say, a multiverse movie is easy to do if done correctly. Like, he gave us two great multiverses. One where it's all about like pinky, kung fu, pew, pew, flick, flick stuff. It's really cool and funny. And then another one where it was just one thing. Rocks.
Name one thing.
Rocks.
Yeah, that's good. Mine was the ineradicability of hope despite the futility of effort.
Actually, rocks is more than one thing.
Peaceful, serene, not at all nihilistic world of rocks. It was great. Seriously, where is that arrow? I missed? This movie follows a character named Evelyn, played by Michelle Yeoh. She has a soured marriage. She runs a laundry company, which she also hates. Everything in her life seems to be just going terrible. Her daughter is in a relationship with another female, and she feels a bit of shame for it, which is why she's unable to tell her dad about it. But she does love her daughter. She just doesn't know how she feels about this side of her, which creates a huge gap between the relationship of I love you, but it kind of sets her daughter into a depressive state. And in her depression, she creates truly an everything bagel. You know, everything.
And I put everything on a bagel. Everything. All my hopes and dreams, my old report cards, every breed of dog, every last personal ad on Craigslist, sesame, poppy seed, salt.
Which, as we all know, is a circle with a little hole in the middle. More about that in a little bit. But you know, during that whole fight scene there, they're also talking about ratatouille, which is probably a better version of ratatouille. You know, there's a little... Where's my fez? Oh well. But during all the chaos, Wei Min, truly, again, the best character of this movie, tells us to choose kindness.
The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind. Please, be kind. Especially when we don't know what's going on.
Something so easy, yet so hard. But something that must be picked above all else. Wait, am I an axe murderer? Well, technically it's a Haji. Did you just, well, technically somebody who's about to murder you? Well, actually. Choose kindness, choose kindness. Then they go to the IRS.
Larry is greeted now by an agent of the Internal Revenue Service.
Who are you? I'm from the IRS, and I've come to attack Shard.
And all this craziness starts to happen. During this movie, Wei Min puts googly eyes on everything. It's kind of his fun little quirky thing he does. But think about this real quickly. A googly eye is one little center thing surrounded by nothing. The opposite of what the everything bagel is. So while there is nothing around him, he still finds joy and happiness in the center, parallel to the everything bagel of everything around them, but ultimately hollow in the middle. There are conflicting ideologies battling throughout this movie. The daughter's nihilistic and depressing ideas about the universe, meaning nothing because, depression, anxiety, yada yada, family issues. And Wayman, who despite everything going wrong, all the terrible things in this world and what happens, chooses kindness, to be happy, to be a beacon of light and kindness. Which ultimately is what gets through Evelyn, of choosing kindness, and allows her to better connect with everyone around her. But all the characters in this movie have some sort of growth and development. There's stakes to it, and it's fun and enjoyable. It's a great movie, and I would recommend you watch it if you haven't. And until next tea time, watch a movie and have a relaxing cup of tea. Cheers.